Welcome to ACC 2025 FITs on the Go. My name is Apurva Challa. I'm a cardiology research fellow at Mayo Clinic, Rochester. Today I have the honor to introduce Dr. Amish Raval. He is a renowned interventional cardiologist as well as the director of cardiovascular research at University of Wisconsin. Dr. Raval is the leader in regenerative medicine as well as pioneering in stem cell therapies for cardiovascular research. It's an honor to have you join us, Dr. Raval.
Thank you.
You are the director of the STEMI system at University of Wisconsin. What key lessons have you learned in optimizing the STEMI system, and what suggestions do you have for fellows who are interested in such initiatives?
Very good. Thank you. Yes, I've been the director of the STEMI initiative at the University of Wisconsin for approximately 15 years now. And the things that I've learned are severalfold. First, communication. The STEMI systems of care and the chain of survival that's associated with it, and trying to get reperfusion swiftly and effectively requires key communication between the various people who have to transport patients, as well as the emergency departments, hospital systems, cath lab techs and nurses, as well as the other physicians. And that key communication has to be streamlined and simplified as much as possible. And we've spent many years working on that at our system. Secondly, I would say that the other part of this is early recognition, really strenuously working with our colleagues in the community and in the region to try to get those EKGs done quickly. And that could be at point of care at the patient's house, for example, as well as at the hospital systems as well, or on the ambulance beds as needed. And then working towards effective transportation options like helicopter transport. Those are all, I think, the key components, communication and really education. And
Well, thank you for sharing that. We would like to know that you are the leader of regenerative medicine and stem cell therapies for cardiovascular diseases. So can you share with us how soon are we going to see these therapies revolutionizing the cardiovascular care?
Oh, thanks, Apurva. So different hat. So not only involved with STEMI care, but in cardiovascular regenerative medicine for more than that, 20 years now. So I can tell you, Apurva, that we're still moving along. We're learning a lot along the way. Many clinical trials have come and have demonstrated some early successes. Some have not demonstrated any successes. But at the same time, what we do know is that most of the cell types that have been studied in patients are safe, that the delivery aspects typically have been safe, and that there are these sort of trends or early signals of benefit that some patients may respond better than others within the realm of the treatment of heart disease. For the most part, the types of patients that we're talking about are sort of end stage or very severely ill. We're talking about people with New York Heart Association class 2 to 4 heart failure with reduced ejection fraction. Type patients could be ischemic or non-ischemic. These are the types of patients that have been studied in clinical trials. In parallel, we're learning a lot about the delivery aspects of cells, as well as bioscaffolds and other methods to try to improve cell retention and improve their engraftment. And finally, there's an entirely new horizon of cell types that have yet to be explored in clinical trials robustly, and that includes so-called pluripotent stem cells that can be differentiated into cardiomyocytes, endothelial cells, fibroblasts, and so on, that could essentially reconstruct damaged myocardium and hopefully provide a way of reversing the damage that has occurred following the injury, whether that's the injury is from a non-ischemic cardiomyopathy fibrosis type pattern or from a heart attack. So ultimately, I think we're still moving along. It's perhaps a little bit slower than what we might see in drug development, for example, but we're talking about living cells, and there are a lot of additional complexities associated with it.
Dr. Raval, you're also a biomedical engineer and you have incorporated those principles into your cardiovascular research. So what are your suggestions for fellows who are interested in driving those interdisciplinary collaborations to drive innovation forward?
Yeah, so my involvement as an affiliate in the biomedical engineering department has afforded me the ability to speak to and collaborate with numerous people who are smarter than me in the area of biomedical engineering. And I, in turn, can collaborate with them and provide some clinical insight from my clinical background. I think for future fellows, I think you need to really think outside of the box. You know, the best innovative ideas come from taking chances. And for me, that's been really the modus operandi of what I've been trying to achieve over my entire career. Really taking chances, thinking outside of the box, and being humble at it. Understanding that you're not going to know all of the answers within your little domain, that you need to reach out. And if you don't have a biomedical engineering background, that's okay. I did, but that's okay. There are people who are in the field who are much more smarter than me, who can help guide certain questions and try to arrive at answers to those questions and methods. And so I think really taking a chance, really exploring the options. There's a lot we still don't know about heart disease. We have an entire conference here, the American College of Cardiology, where there's even more innovative posters and presentations and so on every year. And that's because we haven't identified cures for a lot of what we deal with in clinical care.
Dr. Raval, you're a clinician, you're a researcher, you also do a lot of fantastic work with education. So the question that I have for you is, how do you juggle all these responsibilities? What systems helped you for being able to juggle these responsibilities? And what are your suggestions for fellows to do the same and then to prevent burnout?
Well, I'm a husband and a father of 3 girls as well. I think my suggestion is, if this is what your passion is, you will really not burn out. If this is what your life dream is to become a cardiologist, to help patients, and at the same time innovate and try to advance science, I think if you find that interesting and fun, you will really it becomes natural to you. I would say, as a practical suggestion for fellows, that find a mentor. I think that's really the most important thing I can suggest. Find a good mentor who has that ability to balance those aspects of clinical care, education, and research, and still find some time for home life as well as time for themselves. Because taking care of yourself is really important too. So I think there are a lot of different areas that fellows can kind of lean on. Finding a mentor, I think, is one of them, and I also think find an area of research or an area of a clinical care that you are passionate about, and it'll just fall naturally.
Thank you for sharing those insights. With limited time, how can fellows make sure that the research that they do is both feasible and meaningful? And also for the early career, what are the types of projects that you suggest fellows do?
Well, that's a really great question. Every single year, I take on medical students as well as residents and fellow initiated projects. And I would say that, having a mentor that has had experience in working with residents and medical students and fellows and so forth, who knows the limitations that they face in the conduct of their own education, their didactic requirements, as well as their clinical care requirements on the wards and so on, who understands those aspects, is really key. This is where the mentorship aspect comes into fruition. I can't stress it enough. You have to take on projects that are doable. Sometimes those projects include simplified, case report type studies. Nowadays, like the Mayo Clinic, as well as University of Wisconsin, we have robust data registries we can lean on, where data is actually being already collected. So that's easier to get involved with. I think having a biostatistician to help guide the study in terms of the sample size and being realistic about what you could answer and what you can't answer are really important. But that's, again, where the mentorship comes from.
Right. And Dr. Raval, with the challenges that we face in the academic medicine, why do you believe the research is worthwhile for the fellows? What makes it worthwhile for the fellows?
Well, I think being involved with research for me has made me a better doctor. I mean, I think it really outlines the areas of being humble in terms of addressing patients, explaining to them what we know and what we don't know, and really setting out realistic expectations with people. Sometimes those expectations are great because of really revolutionized therapies. And it's important for us to be able to understand the research that went behind it, to be able to then explain it to our patients. So I really think being involved with research both is only fun, it's exciting. There's areas of innovation that you can really tap into. It is really a lifelong type of project for you. And at the same time, it makes you a better doctor. You just ask the right questions, you ask important questions, and you don't just, drink the Kool-Aid that, that are sometimes given to us by companies and so forth. So I think we, have to be realistic and, tell ourselves, look, we're not only clinicians, we're also scientists. And we do have to be introspective about that.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Dr. Raval. It was wonderful having you join
My
us
pleasure.
today.
Thank you.
For more videos like this, check out our channel at youtube.com, FITsOnTheGo.